and you are. We are Citizen Outbreak. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Citizen Outbreak. What are we at? Number 7 now? Is this 7?
6 or 7, I don't know.
I think it's 7. We're on episode 7. Again, please buy our game, Citizen Outbreak.
Upside down.
I know, I always get it upside down. Upside down. Citizen Outbreak, the game, www.citizenoutbreak.com. Listen to us on Spotify, on
iTunes,
and follow
YouTube.
Yeah, everywhere on YouTube, please. And tell your friends. The more you tell, the more we grow, the more we'll come back with more stuff. Got a little
What do you
stuff.
got, Rudy?
We got a phone call tonight.
Rudy, Matthew, where are you guys? I've been trying you all day. Anyway, wanted to wish you luck with the podcast. I love what you're doing with Citizen Outbreak. It's going to be big. I know these things. I can't wait to come on. Anyway, wishing you the best. Call me on the cell.
That's
he
the
wanted,
Donald.
he wanted to talk about Liberation Day.
Okay, before we get to Liberation Day, I'd like to talk about a pretty good person we lost yesterday.
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer, Iceman, Batman.
Doc Holliday.
I mean, the guy was a fantastic actor. Fantastic.
He was awesome.
The
Loved
Iceman.
Val Kilmer.
Did I ever tell you the story of how I hung out with him? I hung out with him actually twice.
No, I want to hear it.
So I hung out with Val. He was in France, in Cannes. He was actually there with, it was him, Kirk Fitzpatrick from NSYNC. I think somebody else from NSYNC was there. I don't remember. And a couple other actors.
Which one is Kirk Fitzpatrick?
The one with the dark hair, the shorter one with the dark hair.
Okay.
He always had like a ponytail and facial hair.
He had like weird hair.
Yeah. Weird
Okay.
hair. Yeah. So this Saudi prince invited all of them, or paid for all of them, to come onto their yacht. Anyway, my buddy was staying at the Hotel Carlton. They all came in, and after they did their whole thing for the prince, and they wanted to go out, and we're like, oh, we're going to this club. It was called Club Love. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or been there.
Club Love.
No, but Val Kilmer had this light gray suit on, and it had all these like signatures. And I'm like, what is that? And he says, oh, takes out a Sharpie, and he's like, sign it. And I'm like, what? So I realized that he's getting everybody that he meets to sign his suit, and he's got all these signatures on his suit. And I was like, that's why. And what are you going to do with this afterwards?
You know, when I was like 19, I did like 47 days in a row at the Cove or something, and every bouncer signed my shirt.
Oh, really? Yeah, but this was he nice guy. We did a couple drinks. Was a little strange, hung out.
I mean, the guy was amazing.
Yeah,
that's a cool
Great
story.
And he's going to be terribly missed. But he was he had cancer. He was not doing so well. We saw him in the last Top Gun movie. He didn't look so great.
But I mean, he was Iceman and he was Doc Holliday. Those are two really iconic roles, right? I mean,
amazing roles. Batman.
Yeah, Batman. But I don't think his Batman wasn't one of my favorites. But yes, Batman.
No, but he was Batman.
He was Batman. Iceman and Doc Holliday were as iconic. I mean, they're iconic roles. And then, I loved The Saint. The Saint was great. Can't get to 50 million.
The Saint.
And his role, Heat. He was incredible in Heat.
How about he was what's his name? Jim Morrison.
That's right, Jim Morrison.
Doors.
Yeah, the Doors.
And he did great.
He did great, yeah.
I heard he really went into that role. Like, really got into it.
What about Willow?
Yeah, Willow.
Mad Martigan, you are great. Remember Willow?
Yeah.
I loved Willow.
Well, rest in peace, Iceman.
Rest in peace,
Val
Iceman.
Kilmer.
Doc Holliday.
Another thing I wanted to talk. Do you
Tombstone
remember?
Is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh, Tombstone was good.
I mean,
another thing I wanted to talk. Do you remember MySpace?
Well, I didn't really mess around with it so much. I got into Friendster.
Okay, so MySpace. I don't know. Did you ever go on MySpace?
Yeah, I did, but I think it kind of the window that it had, I started building up on Friendster, I think, for a minute, and I didn't really...
You're a Friendster person.
Yeah, I didn't really use MySpace, and then it was A Small World.
Yeah, but A Small World, you couldn't really do anything. But on MySpace, they had this really cool feature that when you get to the person's landing page, like music played, like you could pick your own music, like you could pick a soundtrack. I was funny enough, and I didn't see, but I was on Instagram, and they added this new thing. What's on your playlist? It was a little music thing.
This is on there now?
Yeah, and I never. I don't know. I can't play. I can't put that on because YouTube might censor it. But there's an option where you can add.
Where what? When somebody comes up to your page, they're gonna get a edit profile.
I think.
Oh wow! Add music to your profile.
Yeah,
I didn't see this. What song are you gonna choose?
I don't know, but yeah, this is a edit profile and add music to your profile, and you could also put what's on your playlist, which is really, really cool. I don't know. I don't think that's cool, right?
Very cool.
All right, let's get into these topics we have going on today. Listen, today, I don't know if it's today or tomorrow. What do you call this? The day of not Day of Independence. What is he calling it?
It's the Liberation Day.
The Liberation Day. Liberation Day. President Donald Trump's Liberation Day. He smacked on tariffs left and right to everybody. And you know what's going on right now?
You're coming in very fuzzy. Am I coming in fuzzy?
No, you're not coming in fuzzy.
Okay, sorry.
So the futures stock market, Dow futures are down almost 900 points. S&P futures down 3%, 181. NASDAQ futures 4%, 800.
Trillions of dollars of equity.
Trillions of dollars are going down the tubes right now. We spoke about it off camera, off the pod, and now we're going to talk it. Now we're going to talk about it on the pod. And listen, I understand why.
By the way, Rudy Wojcik, very, very on theme to COA provisions made in the USA.
That's why I put it on.
Yeah, happy Liberation Day. Very, very on theme.
Right. So let's dig into these tariffs. I mean, he slapped the shit out of everybody. China's got, 54% now?
Yeah.
Europe's got 20%. He didn't touch Canada and Mexico.
So far as if they're within the USMCA.
Right, but no additional tariffs. He's got the 25% tariffs that he had before, but those will come off if they get rid of the fentanyl. Right. So that he didn't touch. But Wall Street, the stockies, they don't like this. They don't like what happened. And, we were talking about it when he announced the car tariffs, the auto tariffs. I understand why we need the tariffs because everybody's taking advantage of us, but you can't do the tariffs without a plan. Now, I'm not the president. I'm not Lutnick. I'm not Scott Bessent. So I can't tell you. I'm not an economist. I'm just a regular Joe from New York, New Jersey, Florida. And all I could tell you is it's going to cost the regular person a lot of money. Inflation's going to go up. Regular things are going to cost a lot of money. You know
who's looking like a genius right now is Warren Buffett. He went to cash. He's been going to cash for a while now. Sorry to interrupt you.
No. So, I mean, why don't you tell me what you think about this? And then I'll tell you.
I think, in our lifetime, stuff like NAFTA, USMCA, UTO, trade agreements, these are initiatives that our conventional way of doing these things is that they come out, they pitch these things in advance. We have months and months of our team and their team getting together and the media pitching, explaining what's going on. And then they all come together at some date for signing of the new trade agreement. Right. It's rolled out over time and, debated and discussed and then inked. And, a lot of those trade agreements, as he points out in the executive order, I've only read once, are imbalanced to America for a long time. And as he showed today, there are tariffs on our goods going into other markets.
A lot of tariffs, significant.
Yeah, a lot of tariffs, including non-emerging markets. The argument is, well, emerging markets need help and want the economy to grow. So that's how we're used to seeing these types of things. And it's usually like it's usually like the North American trade agreement was, Canada, us, and Mexico. It's, a group of, this is the way I guess what I'm saying is I think a few things. I think, one, this is very unconventional, the way that he dropped this, right? So for the past, 2 months, we've been seeing a lot of different things in terms of concepts. Up until literally like hours ago, the headlines were White House contemplating this or that. And so they didn't really take, I'd say, at least, in the sense that what's conventional or how we're used to seeing things happen, a thoughtful way of rolling this out to the public so they understand. If you're a U.S. business that has small, thin margins, and you do rely heavily on foreign manufacturing for, at least part of your supply chain, this could wipe you out, right? The additional costs. And, in the past, month or so, 2 months before, I referenced Warren Buffett. Everybody has been taking different kind of action in anticipation, and he's been saying so much, and a lot of it contradictory, like you don't know what he's doing. So you had companies freaking out in terms of their inventory, their purchasing, how they were dealing with supply chain, and without knowing what was coming. Look, I think, yes, there are imbalances, and there are those that are saying, well, this is him trying to level the playing field. I think and you saw him at the end of the press conference talk about the largest tax cut to come, right? So if you look at this in terms of line items, just your expense lines. So he's gone ahead and increased, right, at least as of today, and if these things stay, dramatically increased your supply chain costs, your manufacturing. So cost of goods has gone dramatically up depending on how you're set up with your supply chain. He's talking about taxes coming down, so there could be some offset, right? So taxing policy can't just be done through executive order. He's going to have to go and get legislation done. And, legislation takes time. The end result, hardly ever looks like the intention. Going in, what comes out of the sausage machine really, never looks like going in. So you've got, U.S., you have regulatory, a landscape of very challenging regulatory burdens. You have high taxes. And now he's added in the expense item for manufacturing has gone up. And it takes time to build factories.
It takes time, 3 to 5 years to build something.
Right. So yes, and a lot of the factors like the taxes, the regulatory stuff, those things are not very quick in terms of his ability, at least as I can see it right now, to lighten those expenses. So now you look at those charts that he put out, the all those countries' tariff rates and hours and where we're going to level it up. You got to hope that, they capitulate. Like, Israel, for example, sent out the letter preemptively in advance of Liberation Day. That's why they're not on the list, I think, right? They came out and said, we drop all of our tariffs. So you hope that there's, negotiation, right? This is his approach to, we're not going to get together and do like a big USMCA or NAFTA type thing. We're going to this is what we're doing. This is his move. And now he's going to be fielding calls and dealing and cutting deals across that list.
Right. But he said, from what I heard, he said, I'm not negotiating. This is non negotiable. And if they come to me, I'm not going to negotiate.
Well, okay. Look, I would hope that he is. That's also part of a negotiation, taking a stance. The other part of the trade agreements that we are more accustomed to seeing is that it's done, in kind of lighter, in pretty settings over nice, spreads with people, kind of putting on the optics of good faith and diplomacy as we're used to it. This is a dropping of the hammer, buy American goods, release your tariffs and tell your people they're going to be buying American goods. Because the reality is they have their tariffs and, France, for example, right? I don't know where they are. Were they grouped in all together? No, they have different ones, right? So.
Yeah, I saw them at 20%, but then I saw another thing that they were higher. I saw them initially at 20, but
Lesotho is at 99.
What is that?
Lesotho. I don't even know where that is. So, the idea is that we want to, he's saying he wants to bring back, because look, we saw during COVID what happens when when we become totally at the mercy of foreign, the supply chain, where we're relying on foreign manufacturing. So, he has a point there. It's just to get these changes done, these wheels turn slowly. And whereas the tariff, he's basically just pumped up one of those expense line items.
Right. But look, here's the thing. People think with their wallets, and the other people, the older people, think with their 401ks. And there's people right now panicking.
Yeah.
I just opened it up, and there's stocks that have nothing to do with tariffs, and they're taking a big hit. The Dow is now down 1,047 after hours. The Nasdaq is
Yeah,
down.
I mean,
900. Last
Bitcoin
time
is
I
down
saw-
below. Bitcoin is down below 83,000. I mean, no, risk looks to be off the table. People's appetite to go into risky assets now,
I think
because
they
of the.
want to get out of everything.
Yeah, I mean that's why Warren Buffett is looking like a genius.
Yeah, but
He
like,
went.
all right, let's
He went to cash.
he went to cash. He was smart. He went to, but he went to cash a while ago, not recently.
He's been going to cash. He's been going to cash heavy for the last like 6 months, year.
Yeah.
He's been selling everything.
Yeah, he's been selling everything. He's been going into cash.
I mean, look, the reality is like our economy is based on smoke and mirrors. I mean, we're a fiat currency that we run on the printing press and debt, and it's all smoke and mirrors. So to the extent that he's perhaps saying, look, we're fucked. Let's roll the dice and see if we can actually like do something to help, to strengthen up our strengthen up some of these fundamental parts of our economy. Now, conceptually, you can point to a lot of things that make a lot of sense. I think where you run into it is taxes, legislation for them, the regulatory burdens that we place on companies like trying to do business all across this country. It's very tough to get change done there. And he's just unleashed this. I mean, this is, and so we're also the reality of our, the middle class has been wiped out, right? We have a consumer driven economy that's really, that consumer is represented by all those people that just got wiped out, that are getting wiped out, right? Because the top of our economy. So you're relying on spending from the top, and we keep printing because like the reality was, as we saw during COVID with all the printing, that top part grew in wealth, right? If you're an asset owner, you got more wealthy during COVID. Now the rest of everybody got wiped out. So you're of an economy that's driven, and he's, structurally a consumer where you're really relying upon that. And all we're doing to keep that party going is printing, and eventually somebody's going to end out with a chair. So this is him trying to structurally grab the wheel back. Like I said, I think there's a lot of factors here, and then plus you're looking at a guy that's has the midterms coming up, right? So
let's talk about that. If your wallet hurts, things are more expensive, inflation is going up now, right? So the autos, right?
By the way, I think inflation has been going up. Like they
It has
talk
been going
about,
up.
stuff. I don't know what came down. My life hasn't gotten any cheap. Like eggs, okay, but everything is fucking expensive.
Right, but once they raise the prices, they're not lowering the prices. That doesn't happen. Getting back to the autos, right? So the autos, 25%. Now, if the car is made in the USA, which, not everybody's driving a USA car. So you go to get your car fixed, it's costing you 25% more. You want to go buy a foreign car or another car that's not made in the US, it's costing you a lot more. Used car prices are not going to go up. Insurance is going to go up. The CPI number calculates autos, that's going up. Car insurance, that's going to go up 30% because the insurance companies are going to say, oh, well, you need to fix the car. Well, guess what? It costs 25% more, plus we need our 5% to make money on it. That's going to go up. Housing is going to go up now because there's tariffs on all the other stuff, right? So then the CPI goes up, and guess what else goes up? Interest rates go up.
No, I think interest rates are going to, they're going to have to drop interest rates.
No, what's going to happen is it's going to be so bad that the Fed is going to have to drop the rates to make the save. The last time I saw the Dow at minus 1,000 was when destruction in 2008. They came out and they bailed everybody out.
Now you're forgetting about COVID.
But I'm saying that wasn't financial. That was a pandemic. It's a disaster. So that was a pandemic.
New York. So if you think about the math, and I was talking about this with somebody else. Historically, what's your mortgage? Like 6% mortgage rate historically is not crazy, right? That's not even really high historically in the scope of history. But as they've gone up, 6%, people can't buy homes anymore.
But it's not 6%. Where do you see 6%? It's at 7%.
Okay, I'm saying it's been going up.
It's been 7.
It's been going up
a little bit. It came down a little bit. Like the last 2 weeks, it came down. I think you could get a mortgage at 6.75.
Right. That's where I got the 6. Sorry. So
Right. So, but 6.75, that's not good.
well, I'm saying historically, it's been a lot higher in the past. And what I'm saying that like right now with these rates, people can't buy homes, right?
No, you need to be comfortably around 5.
Because everything is so fucking expensive.
Everything is expensive. You need to be at 5.
Well, I mean, you're gonna need it to be lower now, right? I mean,
I mean,
if
much lower, because with all these tariffs, you need to be lower. But like, so now you're thinking with your pocketbook, you're thinking with your wallet, you're thinking with your K. Everything costs more to fix, to buy, right? And now midterms are going to come. And what are you saying? Fuck this guy.
I don't.
You're not thinking
Yeah.
long term. You're not thinking.
Look, the reality is, I think everybody is everybody out there right now, right? I mean, is gonna. When are the midterms? Like in 6 months? I mean, they start really gearing up for the midterms. Everybody, if you think about it, like Congress can sit around waiting. Ukraine, EU, Putin, China. Because if this guy is perceived to really lose a lot of political. I mean, he did just win up 2 more seats, right, in those special elections in
Florida Congress.
In Florida, Democrats keep polling lower and lower to whatever extent the polls matter.
Right, but now
they
you
just
have this.
Maybe
you're not. Maybe you don't want to vote for the Democrats, but maybe you're going to be like, you know what? I don't want to vote.
No, I think this is a negative. I mean, people in the short term, at least in the short term, you have a lot of wealth destruction politically. If he can't, loses in the midterms, then it's done. Whatever he's doing. And by the way, I mean, with these tariffs, everything is about what happens next. So, those countries on the list, how they're going to respond, sitting around and waiting for taxes to happen.
Waiting. But here's the other thing.
By the way, I mean, the House, Congress has the week off, except that guy, Cory Booker, who was dancing up there for like 25 hours or something.
Surprised he didn't pee in his pants. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
You got the 100 days coming up, right? And let's break it down. Let's break it down. He just did this tariff thing. The stock market's kaput. Let's see maybe we bounce tomorrow. Maybe we don't. Who knows? Okay. Short term, it's not good. Okay. He promised us hostages being released or something bad was going to happen to Hamas. Still waiting. There's still hostages, not free. Nothing's been going on. There's no negotiation that we know of to get these hostages out. He promised us. We're in April. They're still sitting there. Nothing's going on. He promised us all hell on earth that's going to happen to Hamas. Nothing. He promised us peace in Ukraine. Nothing. Remember, we were talking about, in 2 weeks. We're going on the 4th week now. And there's no peace. Both Putin and Zelensky are playing games, so he hasn't done that, right? What else? What else did he promise that, he's pardoning these criminals, the guy from that Nikola truck, the EV, he committed fraud. He pardoned him. And then there was another pardon that he gave. I forgot the guy's name, another fraudster. So what's going on here? Like, do I support the guy? Of course I support.
What's going on here? Putin told Oliver Stone in their interview that because the question was posed to him because he's been there since Bush Senior really on the scene, but since Clinton, and so they asked, you've had to deal with all these different presidents. What's that like? He's like, our experience is it doesn't really matter which political party or which president is in power. America really stays on the same political trajectory. I think the same people are in charge that have been in charge. I think, I think Trump has had some great, I think his instincts as it appeals, as they were shown in Eastern Europe, on the Middle East, Abraham Accords. I think he has the right instincts. I think he has a lot of resistance within his own government. And I think this term, Rudy, is that he's a one-term president, right? He's talking about a third term and all that, which.
So our third.
But I'm just saying, just to say, I mean, to answer your question, I think he had like this month of really taking out kind of the low-hanging fruit, guys in girls' sports and stuff that like the vast majority of Americans really never liked, right? I mean, you look at how unpopular the Democrats are. Like, nobody was ever really like psyched, except the real fringe radicals that really are the only ones left in the Democratic Party. None of them were really excited about all that crazy shit going on. And he kind of ran across that. Then you had Doge come out, which again, like, I don't know what they've actually achieved. Because every time they talk about having, a savings or something, a judge comes out and says they can't do that. I don't, he's done a lot of executive orders, which can, the way they're structured, the next guy, just like he did, the next guy can come in and say, yeah, all that shit's canceled. Here's some new executive orders for you. So I think, the reality is, if I am a detractor if I'm sitting on the other side of Trump, whether that's in Europe or Russia or Ukraine, Israel, Middle East, or Washington, D.C., I have my smartest strategy is to kind of play the longer game, because the reality is, if these midterms don't go well for him, he's done.
Yes, he's not getting a third term. I don't know what he's even thinking about a third term. How's he going to have a third term when he can't even get past the midterms?
I don't know. I think it's an easy one. I think it's funny to watch people freak out about it. I just the reality is, like, right now, if right now it's like, and it hasn't been that long, but so far I don't know what he's achieving, and I don't even know where he's pointing his skis in terms of what he's really thinking. Like, there's no clear process going on that I and I understand there's a lot of different parties, but I don't really understand what's going on, what he's doing anywhere right now. And the way he rolled out Liberation Day, I mean, it felt to me like, wait, this isn't done? Because, like, literally, like, as of last night, they were like, they're still mulling heavier tariffs here. Like, it's
What do you mean?
just
Today in the morning they were saying that.
right. So I don't know what the fuck he's doing, to be honest. I have no idea. I think it's crazy. And of course, like, look, people make a lot of commotion about everything he says, but this is, I just think that the tariffs, really all he's doing right now is adding an extra expense, and the other ones really can't compensate. If you have thin margins as a business and this expense goes up, this potentially wipes you out, right? I mean, you've got all your other line items. All of a sudden your business is just not viable.
Right. And the interesting thing, you've been hearing these rumblings the last couple of days about Howard Lutnick. That if things don't go well, he's the fall guy. He's on the way out. And people have been already saying, like, oh, he knows Secretary of Commerce. If this doesn't go well, then he's the fall guy. He's out. And the White House is already sending out this message that it's going to be him.
How did they do that?
Well, they leak little things here and there. So you start this person picks it up, this person, and it's
so like that narrative is
that narrative.
Yeah. Well, look, man, it's Trump on the ballot, and it's at the end of the day, it's these down ticket things. And if he is perceived, or they can even pitch that he's even in a tight win, if he's perceived to lose, because the Republican Party doesn't, most of these GOP, they don't want him. They don't go along with his agenda. They don't want this kind of. They're not looking to have a revolutionary guy in there, right?
No.
A lot of the stuff he's talking about is bucking the system. So, I mean, he's not actually achieving it or executing it. I mean, right now a lot of the stuff he's talking about. I mean, I saw he was even talking about raising taxes. So
Raising taxes on the rich.
Yeah, I'm not for raising taxes anywhere. So
he promised us he was going to lower. He promised us he was going to get rid of taxes. Period.
He said the fucking IRS was going to be kicked out. He said he was going to have an XRS.
Well, he's I don't know what's going on, but third term, he should not be thinking about a third term or how he's going to get to a third term. I'm sure there's some kind of ways that they could, having J.D. Vance run, and then J.D. Vance steps down and the vice president takes over. The vice president is Donald Trump, and then he's the president again. And that's the way you do it. But if in the next couple weeks, things don't get better, he's going to have a lot, because again, it goes back to, I understand the tariffs.
You'll just have to keep on doing these executive orders, huh?
It's a long-term game, but the short-term game isn't going to work, and everyone thinks with their wallet. Right now I'm sitting here, I'm getting messages, and all it is what the fuck, complaints, and these are from people that voted for him.
Yeah, everybody's losing money.
Everybody's losing money.
Huh?
And he did this at 4:00 when the markets were closed. Unbelievable.
Well, I mean, it's a 24. Everything is going down, and his comments on taxes. It's just not an offset. The idea that because there's not a fast pivot for anybody to accommodate for this. We'll see what these other countries do. And again, I mean, it's just the next step that conceptually, I understand some of the arguments, but the way that he's doing this is obviously unconventional.
Yeah, unconventionally hurting my wallet. Anyway, let's
But
go on
we
to
are used to the government screwing us, so he's pretty conventional in that sense.
Yeah. I'm used to the government screwing me. Anyway, let's go on to the next topic. You see, I'm debating on whether to do this topic or the next topic. Talking about screwing, let's go to the last topic and then we'll do this topic next. Gavin Newsom,
Yeah.
governor of California. Did you see this? So San Francisco, and this is something that came from him. If you get a ticket in San Francisco, a driving violation ticket, they're going to base it based on your income. So if you're piss poor, you pay $1. And if you're, work for Meta and you're, Mark Zuckerberg, you're paying $1 billion for a ticket. No, not $1 billion, but you're going to pay a lot more than what the poor person is paying. So it's number one. I don't know how they figure that out. What do they look at your taxes and they say, oh, this guy,
they're going to integrate the cops. Like the cop is going to be able to have on the spot access to your tax returns.
I think the cop writes you the ticket and then like a month later, it comes up, oh, you owe $500 or you owe $2.
Or maybe you can write it off in the future because based on your income.
I don't think so. It doesn't matter. They're still getting.
He's an asshole. Who the fuck knows it? It's so crazy.
But does that make sense to you?
No, it doesn't make sense to me.
But actually, you know what? It kind of does make sense to me. You know why? I'll tell you why. Because in California, if you commit a crime and you are poor, then there's no bail and you get out, right? You get out.
Yeah.
You shoplift, you go to you don't go to jail. You get out. You do a bad crime, you get out. But if you have money and you do something, you have a big bail, you sit in jail, you pay a fine, and that's because you have money. So this actually makes sense to me.
Look, it's just class warfare. More bullshit from the.
It is.
It's just bullshit.
It's bullshit.
I mean, it's him trying to come up with different ways. First of all, it's insane. This guy's out on podcasts and that lunatic Bill Maher is like begging him to go run for president. These people are fucking crazy.
He's running for president. It's 100% he's running for. They don't have.
I get it. It's insane that this asshole is like that. It's just insane because he's had such a long resume of just fuck ups that he's destroyed that state. And I mean, it's like, so it's crazy. Bill Maher spends all of his time the last 4 years complaining about all the policies and the results of the policies put in by the people that he put there. And now he's once again out there like, why don't we please run? We need you. I mean, these people are fucking crazy.
Well, did you see Bill Maher was at the White House? Was it at the White House or Mar-a-Lago? Kid Rock took him to have dinner with.
No, it was at the White House.
Was at the White House, and he actually said, "Oh, we see eye to eye on the majority of the issues."
Who did?
Bill Maher said that
about him and Kid Rock
about the meeting with Trump.
So Trump and Bill Maher see eye to eye.
Yeah,
Trump is when you
not Trump to Bill Maher. Bill Maher said that about Trump.
Bill Maher said that he and Trump see eye to eye.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at Trump's policies, they're not so dissimilar from like Democrats that we knew to be Democrats 20 years ago, right? I mean, he's as Democrats. He's the only guy out there that's like not trying to go for war, right? He's actually he's very much anti-engagement, although lately he's looking to sounding a little bit different, but. The immigration thing is lockstep with Clinton or Obama, but before 2009, and every other single politician everywhere that we wanted to enforce borders. Now so bringing manufacturing home and regulating the economy, that's more in line with the blue collar Democrats, the Teamster unions, that stuff that always kind of that Rust Belt Democrat. So it doesn't make, it's not, also socially, I mean, the guy is very liberal in a lot of different ways. So it doesn't make so much, that's not so crazy. I think Bill Maher is a fucking lunatic.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, just because somebody says somebody is a Nazi doesn't mean that person is a Nazi, right? I mean, you have all these lunatics running around burning Teslas because they've been told that Elon Musk is a Nazi. I don't know that they were told how or why, other than this one picture. I guess that's all they need. But these people are crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of crazy, let's go on to our next and final topic. And this is actually not in the United States. This is in France. Marine Le Pen gets arrested. She gets arrested. The far-right leader is found guilty of embezzlement by a criminal court in Paris.
Is there a near right?
Is there? No, it's always far. It's always
right.
I better not do that.
The right is always very far. Yeah, don't do that. It's always it's always very far out there, the right.
Yeah. So she was the front runner for the, I don't know, for the far, her, her dad
far right.
Her dad was far right. He, this is a political family. They've been around for a long time. What do you think about this?
So I don't know all the details about, she was charged with embezzling. I don't know the details or how much that merits. I think the idea of imprisoning your political opponent, which we've become accustomed to here in the United States, and in Brazil, and we saw it in Russia, we saw it in the Ukraine, we saw it pretty much everywhere. But this is the kind of stuff that we're told doesn't happen in Western democracies. I don't know about the specifics about the crimes that they say.
Let me tell you the crime, and then you tell me what you think. Okay. First of all, she's denied all wrongdoing. She is going to appeal the case. But in the meantime, the wrongdoing is she was accused of misusing several million euros in European Parliament funds between 2004 and 2016. Now we're in 2025, and now she's getting, this. This is 2004 to 2006.
It looks terrible.
She was found guilty not of personally enriching herself, but of overseeing a complex scheme to pay party staff members with money intended for aids to European lawmakers. She has been sentenced to 4 years in prison, with 2 years of those suspended. I think that means house arrest. The court said the other two could be served under form of house arrest. Okay, so she got 4. She's only supposed to serve 2. They're going to be under house arrest. How nice of them.
She can't campaign. Other than Joe Biden, it's typically very hard to get 80 million votes if you're locked in a basement.
Yeah, and she was fined 100,000 euros, or about 108,000 euros. To my calculation, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
If you're taking millions and they're saying millions of embezzlement, and all you got 100,000, like 100,000
But also, America, she can't, Rudy, on top of all of it, she's not allowed to run. She's not allowed to run for 5 years. I don't know how, the judge said she's not allowed to run.
She could run if she has something with the appeal.
No. But this ruling said she's not allowed to run for office for 5 years.
Right. But if she appeals.
Right. But I'm saying is just if you're reading the ruling, it's hard to say this isn't political. What do? They say, okay, she has to stay in her house for 2 years. She's not allowed to go around, campaign, go do interviews. She has to stay in her house. And second of all, she's not allowed to run for office for 5 years. Why? I mean, it's a strange, why does a judge decide that?
Because as you see in Brazil and what's happening in other areas of the world, it's becoming a judge's decision, and the judges are making decisions on who runs for president and actually ultimately what happens in the country. And if we don't, look what happened in Wisconsin. This, again, judge got voted in, and now in Wisconsin, there's no voter ID, and we're in a lot of trouble. This could happen.
No. They voted for voter ID.
Oh, they did vote for voter ID?
Yeah. It's a weird thing because somehow they got the voter ID, but they didn't get the judge. So I guess turnout, I don't know how that happened. One other thing, though, right? In France, Macron lost the snap election that he caused.
Right, and he's still there.
He's still walking around. Nobody talks about it. This guy was so unpopular. And he walks around, and now he's just canceled his strongest opponent's ability to run against him. I mean, I don't. The guy is completely. It's scary what's happening. You know, I mean, look, it's scary what's happening all across the West.
So the guy who's potentially could run instead of Le Pen is this Jordan Bardella. Do you know who he is? He's like 20-something years old.
He's like the Trump.
He's like a younger.
There's one guy in France that they were saying is the new Trump in France.
Well, he's young, but he's like 25 years old. You know,
I don't know enough about him. I mean, France is really fucked, man. France has serious problems. It's a socialist country. I love it. I love visiting there. I love going, but it's a socialist country.
and the fact
that had unfettered immigration. You know, they don't know who's in their country, and they never had any way to assimilate the immigrants that came. They literally just gave them their own. I mean, they've been fucked. They've been structurally fucked for a long time.
So a lot of the reason why she's been gaining momentum, and you know, before many years ago, she wasn't getting anywhere, right? But now lately she's been getting more momentum and being a lot more people are turning to her is because of the immigration, because of all these people from Africa coming over there, the Muslims coming over and taking over. And I'm not talking about the good Muslims. I'm talking about the the country.
It's a real problem.
It's a problem.
Look, across Europe, but France is one of those countries. It's gone. I mean, France, and you know, this idea that somebody in Belgium is going to just decide. I mean, it's really, and so her popularity has been climbing because of that.
Yeah. So, liberté, equalité, fraternité. You go fuck yourself. Make France great again. Actually, it's funny because I have the Made in the USA hat, and I was going to put on the Make France Great Again hat, which I have.
Oh, that's a good one.
But I didn't put it on, and I should have put it on or switched over.
You could have switched over.
I should have switched over.
This was very on theme for Liberation Day, Bojic.
Right, but I did not have it. We're gonna monitor everything that's going on. Look, I'm angry. I'm angry. I'm angry. I thought this was gonna be a walk in the park, and that was even worse now. So what's gonna happen tomorrow? What's gonna happen tomorrow?
There'll be more for us to talk about on this podcast.
I'm going to tell you some good news. Are you ready?
Yeah, please.
The 10-year's down, which
there you go. Yeah,
which rates might come down. I don't know, but yeah. So that's what's going on. Thank you for listening to the podcast again. Go buy the game, and we will see you in a couple days.